Hi, I'm Marianne Lee of Pro Football Focus and Her Fantasy Football and Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, and I am going off the record today.
What's up, football fans? I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook with Football Game Plan, and I'm going off the record on Nickel Press TV.
All right, welcome back to Off the Record. I am your host, Andy Singleton, and you can find me on Twitter at PeoplesPen. Thanks to those of you who continue to join us on a weekly basis, and welcome to those of you checking us out for the first time. We hope you'll enjoy what you see, and what that is a quick-hitting, fun, and informational 20 minutes on fantasy football that you will not find anywhere else. Why is it so different, you ask? Well, we take two guests with high levels of insight and accomplishments, then we pit them against each other, head-to-head, 60 seconds each, to make a case for a player of their choosing. And at the end of that, the Lord, Mr. Tehol Beddict, determines a winner based on the testimony presented to him. But there really is only one winner here, and that is you, the viewer. Additionally, we bring in a world-renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Seelan Parekh, better known as the Fantasy Doctor, to give you his 2 cents on some injuries that may be affecting your lineups. As a thank you to our sponsors and partners, we ask you to please give them a look as well. Official Fantasy Rings, Rebel Labels, Dynasty Football Factory, Fantasy Assembly, and Friends with Fantasy Benefits. You can find each of them listed in the description section below, so be sure to pay them a visit. And an additional thank you to those who have found us through Reddit and the Fantasy Rundown. Finally, if you're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, please check us out by searching for Nickel Press TV. But most importantly, subscribe to us on YouTube. You're already here. You're already on the channel. Just click that little button right there below you. You're done. That's it. You just may be selected to win a random prize. Liking the video wouldn't hurt, and leaving a comment will only further help us. But regardless, let's get to the guest. She is the captain of the Her Fantasy Football team. You can read her work on Pro Football Focus. You can hear her on Bleacher Report Radio on Sirius XM. And now you can see her in action on Off the Record. Please welcome Ms. Marianne Lee.
Hello, how are you?
Excellent. I'm glad to have you this week. We go back a ways now, and it's finally a pleasure to have you as a guest on the show I'm doing. So thank you for being here. Where can people find you though on your social media?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Brandon Her FFB, as in Her Fantasy Football, and you can follow me on Instagram and Snapchat, Brandon Marianne, which is my first and middle name. And yeah, that's about it. I don't have a Facebook page. And I can only be friends with people I know, so I'm a little like. Rah.
That's fine. Well, another Snapchatter. The Lord is a habitual Snapchatter. So
you need a Facebook fan page, is what you need.
I know, it just seems so presumptuous right now, but you never know. It could change. I'm thinking about it though, because like, where do I put my articles other than annoying friends and family from like high school and stuff? It's like
exactly. We'll work on the fan page for you.
Thank you, of course.
He is a former college running back. He now scours the college trail looking for the next generation of superstars. A motivational speaker, an author, the master of the football game plan, epitome of the word gentleman. I present to you Mr. Emory Hunt. How are you, sir? Good to see you again.
You're doing fine. I appreciate you having me on.
Well, this is, we go back a ways as well. I've attended a few Senior Bowls with you. You've been a guest on other shows I've done, so welcome back. Thank you for being part of this week. We are excited to have both of you. We're ready to get into this, but before we do begin, does the esteemed Lord have anything he would like to add upon his return after his 1 week hiatus?
I know, man. I had to take a little sabbatical to get away from this. The show was too much. The new fame, the new attention, everything coming at me from this incredible show. You didn't tell me we were having a beautiful woman on today. I would have worn something more appropriate. And but it's cool to have two awesome guests like this. And I'm really excited to be back. It's been a long couple weeks without you, Andy.
Let's get to the players. Let's go to round one. And what is it about CJ Fiedorowicz you're starting to love?
Usage. 7 or more targets over the last 4 weeks. He's had 3 touchdowns so far this season, and all of them have come every other week in the last 5 weeks. He's had, between, let's say, 35 and 85 yards. Tight end, it's a disaster zone. And to find that kind of consistent production is rare. More importantly, I think that they need to adhere to this tight end strategy to build up Brock Osweiler's confidence again. This guy has a lot of problems right now. He's having a tough time throwing it into coverage to get it to DeAndre Hopkins. Everyone's kind of down on him. The only person he trusts really is down the field, Will Fuller, but Will Fuller's been hurt. It's a disaster. So the only person that he can trust right now, CJ Fiedorowicz.
Let's switch it over to Coby Fleener now, Mr. Hunt. What is it you're liking about Stonehands in New Orleans?
Well, you have to look at who's throwing him the football is Drew Brees. And when you look at that passing offense and the fact that they're now getting everybody involved, which means you can't focus and double one particular target. You can't just focus on Brandon Cooks. You can't just focus on Michael Thomas. You can't even just focus on whoever they're going to start back there in the backfield on any given Sunday. You have to cover the entire field one-on-one. And what that says is that there are a lot more better cover corners than they are strong safeties and backers that can cover tight ends, which means Fleener will get a lot of action and a lot of targets. And in that Saints offense, now coming off of play action, he'll get a lot of touchdowns.
I can determine a winner here. I was really moved by Brandon.
Yes. You're not drunk. It's Brandon.
Okay. I was really moved by
Or maybe you are. None of my business.
It had something to do with my opinion on what's happening with Coby Fleener here. The usage rate's going down, his snap rate's going down. I'm not supposed to interject my personal opinion here. It's been made very clear to me. But Brendan really moved me, and I was just lost in her eyes for that whole time period. So I wasn't very aware of what Emory was telling me, but I'm sure it was very interesting. But I'll try to focus here going forward.
So you giving it to Fiedorowicz, and it had nothing to do with the evaluations?
It does, because it did move me, because I do like Fiedorowicz going forward. Again, I try not to give my personal opinion in here, but I'm just so down on Fleener personally that I just can't even wholeheartedly go off the arguments. I apologize.
Right. That's fine. Well, let's move. We got 1-0 now in Brandon's favor. Let's move to quarterbacks. You got rookie Dak Prescott, who continues to hold off Tony Romo, who may or may not be ready to come back. Emory is liking him. And then Brandon's liking Jameis Winston for this playoff run that's about to begin in fantasy football. I find this to be an interesting argument because both are by and large able to be had, whether they're still toiling on the waiver wire or you can make a trade for one of these two guys. So this is an intriguing debate for me to see why it is you guys like these quarterbacks, these young quarterbacks, I should add. So what is it in Dak Prescott you're liking, Emory?
He protects the football, number one, and that goes a long way with me, just in regular offense. And you look at the fact that he's getting back Dez Bryant, and now you have Dez Bryant, his security blanket, and Cole Beasley. They're starting to work Whitmore in the passing game, all coming off of play action with Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield, who, by the way, can also catch the heck out of the football. So you're going to see more targets. He does a great job being efficient. He also will pick up yards on the ground with his legs. I think he is probably the safest quarterback play if we're talking about between Winston and Dak. Dak doesn't turn the ball over. He's less risky, and he's much more productive from an efficiency standpoint.
Yeah, you know what? When it comes to a floor, it's definitely lower than Dak Prescott's. No doubt about it. But the ceiling is enticing. 3 or more touchdowns in 3 of his 7 outings. And guess what? He gets to face New Orleans in week 14 and 16. That is called your playoffs, people. I don't know what else to say other than yes. I mean, I literally, there's just no other argument. And now that Russell Shepard's starting to step up, I'm all in. I'm all in on this team in the playoffs, and I'm grabbing them all.
Man, I was fully going with Emory there, and I think I'm going to because of what Dak has been able to accomplish. Again, are we considering Romo coming back? I don't know. But then Brandon almost had me with the 14 and 16. Do people still do the playoffs in the week 16, or is that the last week? Is that the finals technically with people doing it nowadays? Is it 16 or 15?
16 is when most people have their playoffs championship, because week 17 is when they pull all the starters.
Oh, that's juicy. That's so juicy.
Yes.
But God, man, without VJX and these other bums, Andy's boy Humphreys, he did kind of look good last week though. I'm gonna lean with Emory here though. I'm really big on Dak, and I liked his arguments. It seemed like he came very prepared there. Not that you did it, Brandon, but I gotta give kudos when it's due.
All right, let's go to a running back battle, and guys to avoid could be 3 pieces that you might want to move before the deadline. We got Frank Gore versus Ajayi, who seems to make an appearance on every episode of this show. Since Emory just won that, we're going to stick with him going with Ajayi in this round. Why are you not liking him? He just went back-to-back 200-yard games. Arian Foster was forced into retirement because of that. The backfield is his now. Isn't this the time we should all be investing in him?
No, you got to think big picture. Coaches are creatures of habit, and they're all living vicariously through their position. So Adam Gase was a quarterback in high school. Sean Payton was a quarterback in college and in the NFL. If the Dolphins head coach was a running back, then yes, by all in, because he's going to run the heck out of Ajayi. So what Gase is going to do, he's been known as a quote-unquote quarterback guru. He wants to rebuild Ryan Tannehill's confidence. So now that Ajayi has done the unthinkable, going back-to-back 200-yard games, guess what Gase is going to do? Go back to throwing the football 50 times a game with a quarterback that can't complete 60% of his passes. So I would say stay away from Ajayi. Is not because he can't do it. It's because his coach will have to prove to everybody, will want to prove to everybody, that Ryan Tannehill is his guy, that he is also a quarterback guru. So he's not going to give the football to Ajayi, just like we're not going to see David Johnson get the football like he's supposed to in Arizona, because Bruce Arians wants to prove that Carson Palmer is his guy.
I'm saying you can sell him high, and I would do it yesterday. And I think that he has been one of the more steady fantasy producers out there. But the thing is that coming forward, they actually have a tougher schedule at Minnesota in week 15. And we all know that when you lose that game right before your championship, you will go nutty. He only has 100-yard game on the season, only 5 touchdowns, one of which came last week. But it's just all very piecemealed. And every single week we come up with another injury for that offensive line. And Andrew Luck is the absolute most under pressure quarterback in the National Football League. If he gets hurt again, that means they're just going to crowd the box even more. It's totally nutty there in Indianapolis. I don't trust the coaching staff. I don't trust their decision making. Everyone's upset, and including Frank Gore, who said he didn't come here for this. And you know what? I don't think he did either, and neither did I. So I think you can sell him high right now because people are desperate for running backs, and get some quality picks that'll take you into your playoffs.
So much good stuff. I'm leaning. I have the same kind of feelings on Gore, although he's surpassed my expectations thus far. So, yeah, I'm thinking it would be a good time to sell him. A lot of prognostication from Emory there about thinking what may or may not happen due to the coaches. I'm a little curious to see how that plays out, and that's cool. But I feel like Brandon brought a lot of information, a lot of statistics. I don't know what's going on in Miami this week, going to the Jets, tough run defense. So this week alone with Ajayi, I'm a little concerned playing against the Jets, but I think they've kind of found a formula there. Tannehill is somehow regressing under the quarterback guru, which I don't understand what's going on here. It's not, maybe he's not regressing, but the numbers are gross. So, I've always been a big, not a huge Gore fan. I'm going to lean with selling on Gore high now while you can. Indianapolis is discussing. Gore is 38 years old and counting, and so I'm going to go that way.
All right, so that pulls us at 2-1 in favor of Brandon. We're going to go back to a tight end conversation, and again, who to avoid. She's saying it's time to get out of Zach Ertz, who shouldn't even be ownable right now. I think it was the note you included. And Emory's saying it's time to start moving on from Martellus Bennett.
You can just drop him. He has no trade value at this point, and yet he's still owned in 64% of Yahoo leagues. Are you out of your bloody mind? What are you looking at? What What? I just talked about CJ Fiedorowicz, who's still owned in less than 50% of leagues. Now, he is going into a bye this week, so that's a little understandable if you're someone who won't carry 2 tight ends at once. But give me a freaking break. This guy has 4 or less catches. 4 catches came last week for only 19 yards, though. So he got the 4 catches, but only 19 yards. So unless you're playing full point PPR, he's not even getting you 5 points. He has yet to score a touchdown. He has 150 yards on the entire season. Look at your waiver wires, everyone. There are an exorbitant amount of tight ends right now that are at less than 50% ownership, and it's absurd. Like, look at this. I'm going to go through. Okay, CJ Fiedorowicz, 14%. Cameron Brate, 42. Julius Thomas, 65. Jacob Tamme, 23, but you can't take him because Austin Hooper actually is probably the best pickup of the week. The Atlanta tight end, who now is just going to be a baller now that he doesn't have to deal with Tamme vulturing touchdowns, which just drives everybody crazy. I mean, what is Jacob Tamme doing out there? It just drives me nuts. But my whole point is Doug Peterson hates his tight end. They're not throwing enough there in general, but certainly when they do throw, they're going to throw to Matthews and Dorial Green-Beckham. I don't know what the deal is, but they don't trust Ertz, so how can you?
Well, again, I'm going to use the same argument I use for the coaches. Players are creatures of habit, and when have we ever known Brady to spread the football around? Quarterbacks like their favorite targets. Now he gets back Rob Gronkowski. He has Robert Gronkowski 100%. That's who he's going to go to. After that, he's going to go to Julian Edelman. After that, they're going to run the football. Martellus Bennett will be a great blocker. And plus, it seems like every other week he's injured or banged up. So he won't get the targets. All the targets for the tight end will go to Gronkowski, and all the receiver targets will go to Julian Edelman. After that, they're just going to run the football.
I just feel like Bennett still has the upside to get a TD or 2. Ertz, I forgot, was even alive, and then she dropped bombs on Jacob Tamme. And all I can think about is having an exorbitant amount of tight ends. I'm known to have a lot of tight ends around, and I kind of just am really, really feeling dropping Zach Ertz because the numbers are gross. Wentz is not really regressing, but they're just not throwing. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I'm not feeling what's happening there. Bennett, I think, maybe gives you a little bit more chance at a lucky TD or 2 or something like that. Like any day that could happen. He does spread it around a little bit. We saw Hogan get a bomb the other day. We see Amendola score some TDs. He does spread the ball around a little bit. I'm going to lean with Brandon's argument here just for blasting Jacob Tamme because we've been wondering what he's doing in the NFL for years. I'm pumped to see Hopper, whatever, this week. I picked him up or made claims on him in multiple leagues where I'm desperate and I need him to come through.
Well, now that we had that groundbreaking decision made, let's take a quick break and bring in the doctor for this week's fantasy injury report. Welcome back, Dr. Seelan Parekh. What are you looking forward to seeing with Big Ben?
So, I mean, all along, once we knew that he had a meniscus tear and he was going to get a clean-out procedure, I was pretty sure that he was going to be back week 9. It was unlikely for him to take the 3 or 4 weeks needed, especially given the bye. So he was practicing yesterday. I anticipate you're going to see Ben, pretty good. He may have a little bit of a hitch in his step, but I think you're not going to miss much in terms of quickness, his mobility, and certainly his throwing.
Jacob Tamme has kind of had a renaissance season in Atlanta, but now he's a little banged up. Any news on him?
Yeah, so he's got a shoulder issue. It's unclear whether this is an AC joint separation, which is kind of right where your collarbone meets the tip of your shoulder, or if this is a small labral tear. He I doubt is going to be available this Thursday, just given the fact that the reports are that he's struggling with this. So I don't think he's going to be available this Thursday, but do potentially look for him to come back week 10 unless there's a bigger issue underlying here. So we'll have to see how this plays out.
Will Fuller's been up and down with his health as a rookie.
Well, Will Fuller was struggling with a hamstring injury that he suffered during week 5, and now he's got this vague leg injury. Looking at the video, it's really hard to tell if this is just a contusion or a bruise in the muscle, in which case he should be fine to go this weekend. If it's anything more serious, look for him to potentially be missing this weekend. There is not anything coming out of Texans camp letting us know more insight into what's going on, whether or not he had an MRI or CT scan. It's really hard to know how serious of an issue this is.
Devontae Booker was the ad of the year once C.J. Anderson went down to injury, and then he himself came out for a series or 2. Looks to be possibly okay going forward, but what can you tell us about his shoulder?
Yeah, same thing. We saw a lot of these vague shoulder injuries where it has not been clarified what exactly is going on. But he played the entire game, and I think he's going to be day to day. I think you just got to keep track of what's going on during practices. If he's participating, he should be good to go. The fact that he finished the game really means to me that this is not anything serious and nothing to really worry about.
Jamaal Charles is really not anywhere close to being ready to come back. So you've been telling this to us since the preseason. What's your take with Jamaal Charles going forward at this point?
Yeah, so Jamaal Charles is having another surgery. It has been announced today he's going to have a second surgery on that knee. That's big news. So he's on the IR. I anticipate that he's done for the season. IR, obviously, he's out for 8 weeks, but I don't think he's going to be back at all. My biggest worry is that there's something more serious going on here. So this surgery that he's going to have is just a kind of a look and see type of surgery. They're going to go in, take a look and see, make sure there's no damage to the cartilage, the shock absorber discs called the menisci, or that there isn't a buildup of scar tissue. The suggestion is that the MRI really didn't show anything. So this is really just an exploratory type surgery to see what could be driving his pain. Best case scenario, they go in, they don't find anything, and they just continue to rehab him. Worst case scenario, they find something pretty serious that is going to potentially end his career.
Thank you for taking the time and hopefully helping somebody's team this week.
Awesome. Thanks, Andy.
All right, well, that brings us to our fifth and final round this week. We're going to bring it back to running backs. I think there's a 3-1 lead for Brandon. I don't even think we're keeping score, really. So what does it really matter? We're talking running backs. As I mentioned, Emory is a former running back himself, Division I level. So he knows what he's talking about when we talk running backs. And he's going to tell you why Jeremy Hill is poised to return to being a trustable option. But before we get to that, Brandon's going to tell you why James White is going to hold off Dion Lewis, why he's still ownable, why you still want him.
He is incredibly predictable. So as far as Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh, all three of those teams give up a lot of yards in the air to opposing running backs. That's what Bill Belichick does. He game plans for each individual team. So James White isn't an every week starter, but he is the perfect starter in the perfect matchups. Moving forward, he has San Francisco. He has, Jets, which the Jets are just falling apart on the defensive side of the ball. He has them twice coming up, and especially that's in week 16 and week 13, week 12. That again, another playoffs thing for you. So he's the perfect flex guy in a PPR league with a ton of upside. And I personally think you could even get him for borderline free in a trade because people are all afraid of Dion Lewis coming back. I don't think they're going to go to him necessarily. I think they're going to stick with the 1-2 punch that's been so productive all season long with Blount and White. And White only comes in the matchups where he is best. And that's fine. I don't need him every week if he's my flex, as long as I have someone else who's also awesome. But his upside is 20 points per game. So you got to keep those are the people that win your championships. It's not the guys that are going to sit there and get you like 5 to 8 points. It's the people with 20-point upside in the appropriate matchups when the matchups line up for your championship.
Now, here's the thing. In the first 4 weeks or 5 weeks of the season, that's when you're going to see coaches be creative. They're going to have unique play calls, unique personnel groupings. When they have to win games, they're going to go back to what they know best. And Cincinnati right now is in a real dogfight for that AFC North division. So what's going to happen? They're going to have to protect leads. So that means Jeremy Hill will see 20 to 25 carries a game. And we know he's a guy that's going to get consistently better as the game goes on. You just hope he protects the football this time. Earlier in the season, yes, they're going to utilize both guys and try to save Hill for the stretch run. So now we're at the stretch run. We're at the midway point of the season. You saw it last game versus Washington, how they leaned on him to try to close out that ball game. And he did a great job. I think what you're going to see moving forward, especially as the weather starts to get worse in Ohio and within their division, you're going to see a lot more Jeremy Hill, who also can do well on both ends of offense. That's catching the ball and also running the ball. So they'll utilize both Gio Bernard situationally more so than Hill. Hill is going to be the bell cow. He's going to see a lot both on as a receiver and also as a runner.
All right, so based on what you heard, Lord, fifth round.
You You set this up for a 2-pointer for Emory because he just shot from deep and swished because, James White has just been like kind of adequate. I mean, Deion Lewis last year was like phenomenal. Like this dude was insane, filthy, nasty. If he's anything at all like he is, again, this is my personal opinion. I'm not supposed to be interjecting it. I have troubles with that. But with Jeremy Hill, I mean, I think he started to show the last couple of weeks as we've seen. And if they can get up those carries, he's going to produce like he has been doing the last few weeks. I believe he's been kind of going off. So, I mean, for me, this is a pretty easy call. I thought Emory laid it out brilliantly. And Brandon, I don't want to hurt your feelings. I'm just not sure what's going on here.
Well, to be fair, I think of James White as a flex. I think of Jeremy Hill as an RB2. So those are two different positions on your fantasy team.
Okay.
We didn't see each other's options when we were picking ours. So I was going for someone that can get you your championship in that flex role. But
it's Andy's fault.
It's my fault. But you gave Emory a bonus point. So
I'm a Jeremy Hill believer. That's what I'm saying. Like I feel the exact same way as Emory. I also at the beginning of the season I was telling everyone to hold on to him because I said this is the toughest beginning of a season for a running back you can imagine. So he's definitely come alive. I completely agree. I would also pick Jeremy Hill over James White any day. But if I had a flex, I would do James White.
If people can, I would get both backs because of how they utilize both guys, more so than what the Patriots do. You can kind of expect the Bengals to get enough touches for Gio to where he can be effective and get touchdowns, while Hill is going to get the bulk of the carries. He's going to get your more traditional looks. They do a great job of using their backs to the fullest. With New England, it's kind of tough because at the end of the day, you know they have guys that can make explosive plays, but here's Big LeGarrette Blount with 35 carries at the end of the game, and it's just weird because he's going off. So it's just crazy.
I love Blount.
Their personnel. So Bengals do a great job of it.
Well, we got the bonus point that pulls us into a tie again. Since we started this new format, I think this is the 4th episode. We finished in a tie every week. So you guys have continued that trend. I want to thank you both for being such splendid guests. Before I let you sign off, I just want to ask the Lord, do you want to explain to the world where you've been and what's going on with your Twitter account?
Yeah. Not really. Not really. I don't really want to get into that. I'm not sure yet if I'm coming back to Twitter and social media or whatever. It's kind of getting in the way of other life things for me. I have addictive personality, so I'm on there a little too much, as you've noticed from my countless tweets, I'm sure. But I would like to come back a little bit more stable. You know what I'm saying? I just can't keep going on like this.
All your social media and anything you might want to plug.
You can find me on Twitter at FBallGamePlan, Instagram Football Game Plan, Facebook. You could hit me up Emory Hunt or Football Game Plan as well. And Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, you guys better tune into the Patriot League Network as I'll be the color commentator for the Georgetown versus Holy Cross game. So,
wow.
Oh.
Right. Well, we will be. Will that be streamable online?
It's definitely streamable online at campusinsiders.com.
Oh, perfect. All right. Well, we will hopefully get you at least 3 people watching because there's only 5 people watching this show right now. But hopefully we get you at least 60% of our audience. Brandon, please remind everybody where they can find you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on Twitter at Brandon her FFB. I actually just checked. Emory and I do follow each other, so that's good. And you can find me on Pro Football Focus. I wrote a ton of articles there. I do the Her Fantasy Football podcast and the Her Fantasy Football radio show that's Saturday nights from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. And then I do Game Day Radio for Bleacher Report from 11 to 1 p.m. up till kickoff every single Sunday. You can call him with fantasy football questions. I'm there with Howard Bender of Fantasy Alarm, and we just go bang, 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 and answer questions. So feel free to give us a ring.
Well, these guys are both super busy, so I want to thank them for taking some time out to join us this week. Hope you learned something from it. Want to thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to subscribe to us, Nickel Press TV, right here on YouTube. Add us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search for Nickel Press TV. Thanks again to our sponsors, our partners, the Fantasy Doctor, Sealing Correct, the Lord, our guests, Brandon and Emory. Don't forget, next week we are scheduled to be joined once again by Matt Waldman as well as Pat Mayo. So you'll definitely want to tune in for that one. By the time that airs, we'll also have a new president. So hopefully we'll be around to record. And hopefully we'll be
What is the president going to do? Come for you on day one? I love that.
Who knows? It's complete chaos and anarchy this time. So, well, thanks again for everybody joining us. And we'll see you next week.